So hi, this is Wendy from Virginia. How are you?
I'm doing great, Wendy. Is this Wendy, my regular caller from Virginia?
Yes, it is.
How's it going?
Good. So I was calling just, I don't know if you talked about this already because I came in a little bit late.
Hmm.
But I'm not sure if you saw, but Obama gave an award to Henry Kissinger yesterday.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, and when I saw that, I was shocked, as I'm sure some other people were as well, but not primarily because of the fact that it's Henry Kissinger, but also just because it seems like a move to kind of legitimize Hillary
Hillary
Clinton's
Clinton.
relationship with Kissinger.
Hmm.
And also, it seems it's a weird political move because she already has support from the electorate. It doesn't seem like she would need an extra boost by Obama backing and giving an award to Henry Kissinger. So when I saw this happening, I kept kind of thinking, it feels to me like, and I know this is going to sound mean, but I don't want to be like Clintonites and just never criticize Obama and think of him. I have to think of him in a more objective way.
Hmm.
It feels to me as if Obama and Clinton are using identity as a way to push sort of Republican ideology, but they know that they'll have more competition running as a black person or as a woman on the Republican side. And so they run as Democrats, and they know that they can win. Because if you look at their policies, if you look at a lot of the things that they're doing and inching the party more and more to the right and supporting people who are actual war criminals,
Yeah.
it just feels like, I don't know, I feel like are we, I guess I'm asking the question is, are we Obama's firewall? Are we kind of failing to be critical and critically think about certain issues and the ways that he's also hurting some communities without fully acknowledging it? And
You
sorry,
know-
one more thing. I
Yeah,
think
go
the
for it.
last thing that happens is that in some ways, like we criticize Elizabeth Warren for going for low-hanging fruit with Trump,
Hmm.
it seems to me like the only identity point that Democrats right now are really willing to deal with is LGBT issues.
Hmm.
They're not dealing with anything that interrupts capital. So as much as LGBT issues are a moral concern, if you're coming at it from a right-wing perspective, like they're challenging moral stances, they're not challenging capital by allowing gay and lesbian people to get married. They're not challenging capital. They're actually encouraging capital expansion
Yep.
by backing these bathroom bills because they know that North Carolina and other places are going to lose business. So I just wanted to leave that because I'm at a state right now where I'm like, I can't believe what I keep seeing every day. It's shocking. That's all.
Yeah. No, those are great observations. Thanks so much for your call. I have to agree with you in a lot of ways on some of the key components of what you said. In particular, the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party only using identity politics to the extent that it does not interfere with the not just capital but the current capital flows and the current capital structure, right? Forget about redistribution for reparations, forget about redistribution for just significant investments in the African American community and trying to alleviate the poverty that is overwhelmingly present in the African American community. They're not interested in identity politics to that extent. They're only interested in identity politics that it's the non-economically threatening identity politics. That's exactly what this current Democratic Party is all about. And I saw a lot of conversations online about the exact thing that you just mentioned, Wendy, where the Democrats are all about LGBTQ rights, and as they should be, right? There's nothing wrong. That's everything right about that. But they won't dare really talk about the real issues happening in the African American community, because the issues in the African American community that are overwhelmingly felt by every single African American are economic issues. And so their hands are tied willingly because they don't want to address the economic paradigm that is gutting the African American community, that's still plundering the African American community today. So identity politics really only goes as far as let's fight back against racism. Yeah, but how are you going to do that? What policies are you actually going to employ? I don't know, but systemic racism is really the problem. Okay, how do we address some of the systemic problems faced by the African American community? They don't have a solution. They don't have an answer because they don't want to entertain it. So yes, I agree with you 100%. It is all about identity politics that is non-economically threatening. Anything in identity for African Americans or Latinos, if there was something about the LGBT community that a decision made for them would challenge the economic paradigm that the neoliberal economic Democrats exist under and thrive under, they would no longer support those LGBT rights. They would not even talk about them, right? They wouldn't oppose them, but they won't talk about them. And that's the limitation of this Democratic Party. They don't want to shake. They don't want to rock the economic boat that we've been living under. And for the longest time, I thought it was ineptness. I thought there was a shortcoming in the strategic. I wanted to say the strategery. For the long time, I thought it was just a shortcoming in the Democratic Party. But then you come to realize this is exactly what they want. They want economic globalization. They do want social policies, so long as those social liberties and liberalism and progressivism do not interfere with that globalization. They do care about women's rights, but they only care about it to the extent that it doesn't infringe on globalization. Because if they cared more about women's rights than globalization, then they would be concerned about the plight of women globally who are fighting to live and survive on 10 cents a day being paid to them by major U.S. corporations. But they're not concerned. That's the limit. That's the extent of their concern. And as far as Henry Kissinger goes, I have to talk about the fact that President Obama is getting ready to visit Hiroshima. And as he gets ready to go, they have already put out the word that he will not apologize for America using the atomic bomb on Hiroshima in 1944, killing over 120,000 people, I believe, were killed by America. And as he gets ready to go, they're already making sure everyone understands there will be no apology. And I sit back and I genuinely sat there and wondered why the entire F can a president some 60, 70 years later not apologize for something, whether or not you apologize for the act and the necessity of the act. Why can't you apologize for the death? And I'm just riding into the studio tonight wondering why is America so attached to never apologizing for anything that it's done? These bastards haven't apologized for slavery. They don't want to apologize for Hiroshima, Nagasaki. And so this parallels exactly with hearing Kissinger. It's like we must honor people who were in power in the past, no matter what they did. And it is a moral blind sight. I think it's a willing blind sight. I think it's a blind spot, rather. It's a willing blind spot, and they're intentionally being unapologetic for anything that we've done wrong, no matter how wrong it was. And that's exactly what Henry Kissinger is. And I'm sitting back and wondering, like, why the hell can't this president, the one who has apologized for other things, right? Why can't he apologize for this? And I'm like, what structurally, what goes on in the halls of power such that a president 70 years removed from an act can't even apologize for the carnage and the death, not for the act, not for whether it was necessary, but for the death. We can't even, and I'm like, who's holding this over the heads of everyone who assumes power in the White House? Like, what structure, what power, who's making this decision on behalf of President Obama? You know, if it's merely a political decision, he has no more campaigns to run, no more elections to participate in. So where is this impetus coming from such that a person like Obama, who is, if nothing else, he is a person who reflects on his decisions? A person like Obama can't even apologize for the death and the destruction and the lingering scars. And I'm sitting around like, is there like a hall of dead presidents that constantly threatens the new presidents, saying you better never apologize for the shit I did? I don't know. It's that ridiculous. I don't understand. I don't understand how much a stranglehold America's history has on today, and who is enforcing that damn stranglehold. And that's how you get people like Henry Kissinger still being honored when the history books are starting to be corrected to reflect that he's not a person that we should honor.